In the cut.
Hey, what's
Manny,
going on, buddy?
what is going on? Can you hear me? Can you
Man.
see me?
Yeah, I hear you, bro.
Already, man. Well, it's been a minute.
Yeah, but we're back.
We are back, and
Never left.
I definitely want to dive right into it. This episode is probably one of the most near and dear to my heart personally, just because one, the people that are on it, and the other, just the significance of how this all came together, and what it's done for me, man. So one thing I didn't realize is I did not put the link up on my link tree, but we're not going to talk about that right now.
Yeah,
So
we're good. Let's just go along.
Well, listen, for the people that are on here, thank you guys for jumping on. You are live with us now in the cut. Feel free at any moment to comment, like, share, let us know where you're tuning in from, or to even participate in the conversation, ask questions. P, how's it going in your world, man?
Good, bro. I can't complain, man. You know, we're live. Right? I'm excited about tonight. We get to talk about Guatemala and the Hug
you
Foundation.
see the drip. It's only right.
Yeah, I had to put it on too. Right.
It is only right. So
I paid 300 quetzales for it.
300 quetzales. You got some money,
I think it's
guy.
250. 250 actually. I brought it down 250.
Wow, you really was haggling the people at the market, bro?
No, they were hustling me, man. That was good. But I had to give back. So.
Let's go. Miss Ashley Rose in the building.
Yeah. What up, Ash?
So perfect. So let's just jump right into this. First and foremost, I want to get we have some special guest hosts on today besides ourselves. Two of our very good friends. We've traveled all around the world with them. And I will go around the world and back with these same guys. Let's just get them on here. Mr. Jeffrey Scott LaRock.
What's up, fellas?
And
bro?
Another Queens native, Mr. John Zeppoy.
Hey, let's go. How's it going, guys?
Wake up, buddy.
I know a lot of people are. I know a lot of people are used to seeing just me and Pedro on here, but I had to get you guys on here, and our viewers, you guys will know why. You guys will know why I invited these guys on here. Is because of our special guest today. For me, our special guest, he was this guy, her son, man, this guy definitely made it a lot more comfortable being in a third world country like Guatemala. Right. If you guys don't know what we were doing out in Guatemala, if you guys were wondering, obviously that's what we're here to talk about is our experience in Guatemala and building these bottle schools. If you guys don't know about it, this guy, her son, man, like this guy, I feel like everywhere he goes, this guy's like the president or the mayor. Everybody just knows who he is, and he always knows what's going on. He sees everything that's going on. He knows exactly what to do. But do not sleep on this guy's soccer skills. If he's not building schools, if the guy is pulling,
he's scoring goals, right?
Yeah, he's the craziest soccer tricks. J-Lo, man, we needed you out there last trip. But
point guard.
one of the first things when I met him, we met a few times at a few events prior to actually going to Guatemala. But again, he just made me feel real comfortable being in again in a third world country where I don't speak Spanish. it was foreign to me, but being around her son, man, obviously we felt safe. But he's also a huge part of Hug It Forward's team. Shout out to Adam, shout out to Zoe, shout out to Ice and the Vivis. But
Miss Christie.
yeah, Christy, shout out to you guys at Hug It Forward. But her son, me and her son, we go deep, man. I'm the goalie. This guy's the scorer. So we go deeper than Hug It Forward, man. We cool. But I just want to give him his flowers while he's here because again, this guy's doing so much for the community. He is a native Guatemalan, and I'd love to welcome him to the stream, Mr. Gerson.
Let's go.
What is going on?
Good to see you again, buddy.
What is up?
What's going on, guys? So happy to see you again.
Yes. So let's dive right into this, man. Her son actually just came back from. I don't know how many trips I don't know how many trips, basically back to back. Like, where are you coming from, her son? Tell us about your past couple weeks.
It's been actually 4 weeks. So we had 3 trips back to back, like literally like one right after the other. And we stopped for like 4 days to do laundry, and then came back and led another trip.
Wow.
We didn't have trips for 11 months, so it's been a blessing to be back in those communities again.
It's amazing. So you're back on track? Not yet. Like you get it going.
And that's the hope. We have other trips lined up for the next few months, so that's pretty exciting.
Very nice.
All right, so I just posted the link. For those who wanted to join in via YouTube, or if you want to share this, so your friends can join in. Maybe they're interested about these bottle schools and how to get on one. I posted the link in there. I forgot to put it on my link tree, but feel free to share that. And real quick, just a little bit of background, her son, where you come from, how you got involved with Hug It Forward. That's actually something I'm curious about. And just real quick, and we will give you this.
Well, first of all, thank you guys for having me. Thank you for helping me spread the word about what Hug It Forward is doing in this community of Guatemala. Well, I actually got involved, I'm going to say probably about, I think it was 9 years ago. It was my dad actually who worked in rural community development for 18 years. And I always felt like that's something I wanted to do. There was a friend of mine who invited me to join. This is a different nonprofit. And I worked for them for like 3 years. And that's when I found my passion. I really enjoyed working with the groups, working with these communities, and making a difference. Whenever I joined, I remember that the guy I was working for back in the day thought I was crazy because I was gonna take 50% off my 50% cut, what I was making at the time. But I honestly felt like that's something that I really needed to do in that moment. And then after working for 3 years for this other nonprofit, I met Hug It Forward. I met Zach, who is the president of Hug It Forward, and then he invited me to join the organization. And I've been doing that ever since. When Whenever I joined, we were at 100. Sorry, we were at 18 schools. We're at 131 right now, and then we have 3 more schools under construction.
Wow. So you started off where? You started off where at 18 school?
18, yeah. So we're at 131 right now.
Wow, that's powerful stuff right there. The amount of kids that you're impacting from 18 to 100 and I'm proud to say I've been a part of building 3 of those schools. So
3 strong.
3 strong for sure, right? Pedro, my guy Pedro is blessed to go on one this year. John has been on us on 2 trips, and that's why obviously they are on here. But that's amazing. How many kids are in these in the school on average? You say?
I want to say it depends on the size of the community. It could be from 50 kids to 500 kids. It really depends. Wow. But one thing to remember is that one thing is what's happening right now. How many kids are using the school right now, but how many kids are going to be able to use the school, over the years? It's going to be a lot of kids.
Exactly. Wow. So I know these guys love building these schools. Like P went on one bottle school trip, came back with a tattoo of a bottle.
Shout out to Joe. Yeah, Joe's good man. Yeah, I wish he was there.
Pete, what made you and Jeff, my bad, Jeff too. I'm not sleeping on you. Jeff got that too. What exactly, was it that it was like, man, I'm getting this tattoo right here?
No, we just wanted to remember it, man. It was a beautiful feeling being there, doing what we were doing. Right. So I just wanted to remember it. So it kind of helped me out. Every time you feel down, you just look at it and you're in a better place. It humbles you down real quick. That was a very touch moment. I never had that experience in a long time. So I appreciated that much. And we were just sitting on the bus. It was like, you know what? Let's just get a tattoo, man, just to remember this week. And that's exactly what happened. Yeah, that's exactly what happened, man. It is what it is. So now I got to go back next year.
I don't need a tattoo. Oh, it's cool. I got shirts.
I got a tattoo. Next time we come, you got to get a tattoo now.
Right.
First tattoo. Yo, this is what happened.
J-Lo, do it right here.
I do it myself. I do a bottle right there.
Oh, baby.
Put a little soccer ball on the side.
It's a symbol of hope, right?
That's so funny. That's right. Yeah. J-Lo, you could do it. This could be your gig, man. You could just be giving bottle tattoos for Hug It Forward, man. So Jeff, what is it for you? When you look at that tattoo, man, what is it for you?
My tattoo is a little bit different. I got the bottle, but I got stripes inside of it. So I got 3. So that means I completed 3 bottle schools. So by the time I do another one, it's going to be 4 and then 5 and then so on and so on.
Listen, Edison did 100
catch up
too, man. If you hanging out with us,
I don't know if I can catch up to him, but
you might not have enough. You might look like
this. You look like this.
Oh, yeah, you gonna look like that.
Can you tap my chest? You got me? The bottle tattoo on my chest?
Oh, man.
You call it the Hug It Forward suit.
I don't know, man, but it felt right.
Nah, I definitely. Listen, there's so many things. There was so many things about this trip that was just such a game changer for all of us. We have J-Lo on here. J-Lo is normally the guy who's capturing all the moments. This past trip, unfortunately, couldn't make it with us, but I tried to take his place and do some of that. I definitely did not do it any justice that he would have done. But J-Lo, what's like being behind the camera, man? I know you can get real. You can get real.
Yeah, just knowing that I'm capturing all those moments that you don't really get to everybody gets to experience, because you're focused obviously on your own moment, and being the type of person behind the camera, going to each individual and pretty much able to share that with others. It's pretty much a blessing because we able to show different type of people from different type of background. Sharing, their stories behind what they're doing with this project and moving forward with this. So it was a beautiful experience since doing that twice, and and moving forward with it as well. So pretty much putting a voice into each individual that's on this trip and then a voice onto this project for others to see as well. You know, so it's a
Yeah.
blessing.
I think it's a movie what you put together. I wish I could play the video.
What?
It's real laggy.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
But yeah, man, you guys can see the video. I'll show. I'll tag you guys on the video somewhere. But ultimately, you know, for those who don't know what a bottle school is, you know, Hedison, you know, could you walk them through exactly what a bottle school is?
For sure. Okay, so it's pretty simple. It's a school made out of plastic bottles. Those plastic bottles are stuffed with inorganic trash that is collected, in the community. In Guatemala, there's no trash collection services. So in rural communities, what they do is that they burn the trash, and then they inhale those fumes, and those are actually, not good for you. So what we do is that we go to these communities that we know that have a trash problem, and they need a school. And so the community gets together and they stuff, depending on the size of the school. I think you guys have worked in 3 classroom schools. Those are 10,000 bottles, and it takes an average of 2 hours to stuff one empty bottle. But before we put in $1, in the community, they had already invested around 20,000 hours stuffing all those bottles. And it's the kids together with their families who get together to stuff all those bottles. And then once it's ready, that's when we come in. When they have all the bottles ready, that's when we come in and work on the school. The average time of construction is about 5 months. Collecting the bottles depends on the community. It could be from 2 months to a year, depending on the size of the community. And you guys have seen, for those of you here that have seen the process, everyone can participate. The kids, the teachers, everyone is involved. And in order for these projects to be sustainable, which is what we're going for, everyone is involved in a larger scale. So we have the mayor from those communities who provides the on-field labor. Is they provide the masons. So that's the skill labor. Excuse me, that's the skill labor, and then the community provides the on-skill labor for the project. They also provide the bottles, and then Holy Forward is able to provide all the construction materials. So like gravel, cement, sand, the doors, the windows, to complete the school. And then the Ministry of Education, which is the general government, they provide the teachers. We have a good understanding and agreement with them, so they can provide the teachers for all the schools that we build. So everyone is involved. It could be, we could potentially, fundraise for teachers. We could fundraise for masons, but then it's not sustainable. It becomes a handout. And what we want is for everyone to be involved because it's everyone's responsibility.
Man, I love that. It's one of the things that stood out you just said is that it's a community effort. You have everybody from the mayor to the kids that are hands on deck. Yeah, and so for those that don't know, again, the bottle school is like 2 hours to fill one bottle. That right there, and we were playing in soccer. We were playing soccer all over them, just trampling all over them. But 2 hours to fill one bottle, just imagine.
Yeah, it's about 110 chip bags. That's about the average that you can put in a bottle.
A bag of, what did you say? A bag of chips?
110, yeah.
Oh wow, that's interesting. If you did not know what you could be doing with the bottle that you're recycling, you can fit 110 bag of chips in there. If you're recycling, so that's pretty dope. I do remember.
I wonder whether it was a lot of chips.
yeah, definitely a lot of.
Getting more bottles, right?
I do. We the next time we go walk through the communities, I guess we got to buy more chips.
We buy more chips.
Yeah, we bought a lot of chips, bro.
So, for me, I remember walking through. I remember playing soccer on all those bottles that we had and stuff like that. Do you reuse those? Not reuse. Do you use those bottles for like future projects, or do all the bottles get used?
most of them get used. We need about 10,000 for a three-classroom school. But then one beautiful thing that's been happening in these communities is that um, one thing that we're trying to do here is not just build a school. That's kind of like a byproduct of what we're doing. We're raising awareness about plastic. So we, alongside the construction of the school, we have an environmental education program. And then we work with the kids, we work with the teachers, and we talk about basic stuff, like the difference between organic and organic trash. And the whole point is just so people are aware. It's all about education, and so that's what we're trying to do here. So one beautiful thing that is happening is that after the school is built by the community and dedicated, and we cut the ribbon, and it's a beautiful ceremony. After that, what happens is that they keep stuffing the bottles. Maybe not in the same scale, but they keep collecting bottles. And then what they do is that they donate those bottles to another community nearby that needs a school. So sometimes they get a phone call from one community saying, "Hey, we have 300 bottles. Do you know any school that needs it? Needs those bottles." So we, put them in contact and do all those phone calls, and then they donate the bottles directly to the schools, to another school or another community that needs it.
Got you. One of the things too that I love about the Hug It Forward program overall is just the educate, like you mentioned, education, and all on all aspects, whether it's the recycling, the plastic, and what you guys do for us as the volunteers, as far as the immigration stories, the Civil War stories.
Right?
Bro, I mean, you guys, P and Jeff, I wasn't on the one that you guys were on, but like, is there anything you remembered about any of the stories that you heard? And again, we aren't here, not saying that we're promoting, legal citizenship or anything like that, but like, it's bringing awareness to hear these stories. I'm coming from a background where my mom also did the same exact thing, traveled from the Philippines, came to, before she came to America, she migrated to Europe and came here. But, just to bring this awareness, man, like, is there anything that you guys remember about your stories? Well, not your stories, but the people, anyone that shared with you guys?
Oh, I mean, it was just deep, bro. It was like the movies, like the whole time. I forgot his name. I don't know if it was Fernando. The whole time he was talking, I just kept thinking about the movie Apocalypto. Like that's how insane it was. The way as he was narrating it, I just kept watching the movie in my head, and I was like, "This can't be real," But I guess it is real, And they went through it, and it was a sad story, but that's why we're there, right? That kind of made me want to build a school by myself, right? Like it gave you more energy, like damn, we gotta finish this, we gotta do more, right? So that was deep. I couldn't even imagine myself because 96, I was chilling, and they were going through all that stuff. Civil War is tough. I want to know how that feels. I want to know. I don't even want to feel.
Right. You mentioned 96, right? And I'm sure there's a reason why you mentioned that. Obviously, as we know, being educated on Guatemala's Civil War, real quick, because a lot of people is always like, well, why Guatemala? Why Guatemala? Why not anywhere else? But and as we all well know, all of Central America has been through very similar hardships. But as far as Guatemala's Civil War, Gerson, like if you could touch on that and why you guys want that to be a part of the program and why you speak on that.
For sure. Well, first of all, when people come on those trips, it's very important that they understand why they come down here. Whenever they go back home, people are going to ask, why did you go to Guatemala? Why not this other country? And so one of the reasons why Guatemala needs these schools is because we come from a 36-year civil conflict in Guatemala that just ended in 1996. One of the biggest problems that we have in Guatemala is that there's a lot of corruption. I guess it's all over the world, but we have a lot of corruption. So most of these communities have been abandoned by the government, especially after the war. So there are schools that were built in 1970 that we are currently replacing. what happened during this time is that there were two sides fighting, obviously over power. Different countries were involved. A lot of gnarly stuff happened in these communities. I'm talking about massacres. I'm talking about thousands and thousands of people disappearing from these communities. Um, and so, what happened during this time is that schools and churches and houses were burned with the people inside. And so, what we're doing here is we're rebuilding. In some cases, we're rebuilding all those schools that were burned during the Civil War. And one of the things that we do during the trip is that we have someone from the community who's willing, to come talk to us about, their experience, or whatever they feel comfortable, wherever they remember. There's a lot of these people that are speakers that never had the opportunity to share, what they remember or what they went through, because in some cases this is still an open wound in these communities, and nobody really talks about this. This is not even written in our history books yet, because obviously, the government they don't want to necessarily admit, and let everyone know, what happened. But it's pretty obvious, and these communities, especially the rural communities, indigenous people, they went through all this, and it wasn't pretty. There was no freedom. There was a lot. They were living in fear. They were living in the woods. They were hiding. They couldn't even go to work. They couldn't even, stay at home. So that's basically where we come from, and it's really important for us that people understand that what they're doing here is not just building schools. They're helping kids have dreams of getting educated, and then so that way they don't have to go through, something like their parents went through. There's a whole generation that is lost because of the Civil War. There were a lot of kids. A lot of the men from these communities were killed during the Civil War. So the moms were taking care of their kids. They ended up in the south of the country working in sugarcane fields, and now those kids are adults. Those kids that were working in the sugarcane fields are adults, but they never had the opportunity to go to school because they were working with their moms. And who's going to hire them now? If they don't know how to read and write, it's a whole generation that is lost. So the fact that we're building schools is very important. Whenever you come on these trips, people say very often that they're very grateful that we're building schools, because maybe they didn't have a chance to go to school because of what was happening, but their kids and their grandkids are going to be able to use those classrooms that are being built. And that is one thing. And then the other thing that we talk about is it's about migration. One of the things that happened after the Civil War and during the Civil War is that a lot of people were running away. A lot of them ended up as refugees in Mexico, and then some others just kept walking up north, and they ended up in the United States, and then they realized that even without education, they had opportunities there, and that's when he became popular, if you will, to go to another country. We're obviously not in favor of people migrating to another country illegally. What we're trying to do here is to get kids educated, so they don't have to risk their life, in a journey that is grueling. I remember one of these talks that we had. There was a man in one community who said, "Hunger is greater than fear," and that really stuck with me, because they're not necessarily hungry for food right now. They're hungry for opportunities. There are opportunities that they cannot get because they weren't educated. So that's what we're trying to do here by building the schools. So when you come on these trips, these are some of the things that we talk about.
Wow.
Powerful stuff. And yeah, that right there, hunger is greater than fear.
Yeah, I gotta. Ooh.
Yeah,
and that migration story as well. Like that was another. I can't even imagine that. I don't know how to swim.
And there's some that go multiple times doing that as well, not once, which was surprising me. The different times, the tries that they go to make it back and forth, and then the stories that one little simple mess up of them being in the States, having to push them back over there in Guatemala, working their way to send money back to their family, to their village, to help them progress, which is it's super impactful, So it definitely gave me a different perspective as well. You know, coming from South America, knowing my family doing that, so having some of my family members, and I know others as well, trying to make it here and then getting kicked out back and having no return because they got caught. So it's super impactful and important to know, and it's a really cool course in that in that section of our trip, which is it's super dope. I really like that part. And a question too, towards because I remember when we went there, you guys have a goal of how many schools to make in Guatemala. What was that number again?
Well, we don't really have a goal, to be honest, but potential need of 10,000 schools in Guatemala.
Okay.
In all those communities. And we're not the only one, the only organization, building schools. There are other organizations doing other things. We're probably the only organization in Guatemala building schools out of bottles.
Wow, that's cool. I didn't know that. So, I do like the aspect of obviously building schools, and we always talk about how we might not be able to see the fruits of our labor, but the generations after as well. And for me, I wrote this post the other day where one of my first jobs, one of the only jobs that I've ever gotten fired from was working with kids. This was what I did before I was a barber. I was doing it for 5 years, and it kind of just hit home where I was like, wow, like I really loved what I did working with kids. And when I got fired, I thought I was never going to be able to leave that sort of impact ever again. And I'm so happy that we found our way to hug it forward, and we're still able to pay this forward because, again, the education, building schools is amazing. Educating ourselves on what happened in Guatemala and the Civil War stories, the migration stories are powerful. But for me, I think one of the biggest things for me, what I understand about leaving this impact for the younger generations is just opening their minds up to, when we're just hanging out with them and kicking it with them, right? Like I don't speak a lick of Spanish. Like I could have like some sort of elementary conversations, but them seeing someone who isn't Guatemalan, that's already stretching their mind. I know Jeff's brother Jared was on the trip, right?
Yeah.
He got a nice flat top haircut. Automatically, when they see him, they're touching his hair. Like, wait, what is this person here?
That was it,
right? So, like, getting on one of these trips, you're already stretching the mind of a child. That's like, wow, there's more than what I see right in front of me here in this community. And I think that's so powerful that we do that, because I again, from the Philippines, I come from very similar backgrounds. We live in the boondocks as well, so when we go to to these communities in Guatemala, I feel like I'm back home as well. But these guys, when they see me, they're like although I am Filipino, they're like, wow, there's more outside of this community than what I'm seeing. And I think it's a great thing that again, I've been on 3 schools. These guys have been on many as well. So how does anyone get on one of these bottle school trips?
So we have some trips already lined up for next few months. The next one is going to be April 8th to the 14th, if I'm not wrong. Then we have 2 more in June. We have 1 more in May, I believe. Maybe we can figure something out so we can post the dates somewhere in case someone is interested. All they have to do is go to our website, howforward.org. Just fill out the application form, and then we'll be in touch, and then we'll figure out a way to communicate with the person interested, and then they can sign up, on the trip. We can come down and experience this firsthand. We would like to have everyone who's willing to experience and just experience something different. What we're offering here is a direct experience with your donation. It's very important for us that people understand where their money is going. This is not going to someone's pocket. Like I mentioned, there's a lot of corruption in Guatemala and all over the world. But what we're doing here is providing this opportunity for people so they can come down and see firsthand what Holy For is doing in this rural communities. and we hope to see all of you guys again on a future trip.
Oh man,
Yeah.
all four of us on the same trip? Oh man.
I don't know, man.
Nah, listen, man. I look
Oh,
forward to
man.
getting on a
Yeah,
trip.
I can't wait though. I can't
I
wait.
definitely can't wait. So,
Now
um,
we go.
so something that you just mentioned right there. This is a direct donation, right? Like, how many times do we see people asking for money? Whether it's on the street, or these different donations, GoFundMe's, and it's like, especially with corruption going on, I think this is probably one of the best ways to give back. Like, you go and we say it all the time. We go out there, expecting to give back, but ultimately, what happens is we get something big in return, right? Like, you guys could attest for that. Yes, or yes.
Yep.
What for me, I got so many humbling moments. Is there any moments that stood out to you guys, Jeff? Anything that stood out to you guys on any of the trips that we went on?
I mean, every trip that I go on is like a breath of fresh air. We come from New York where everything is fast paced, and we get caught up in whatever we're doing, whether it's work, whether it's family, and then every year I go back, it's like a new year, a refreshing, and just being with the kids and interacting, even aside from the kids, the adults. You see, like when we come there, it's like a sign of hope for them, where we bring life to the community, and hopefully, I just look forward to keep on doing it every year. Hopefully, next year, yeah,
We got to plan. Trust me, we will plan that.
yeah.
For me, one of the moments that also
Oh
stood out to
man, it's
me.
gonna.
Yeah, nah, I'm looking forward
I
to it
don't
too.
know. I'm gonna just.
I'm looking forward to it too.
Person can't wait. Can't wait for us to get back there.
For me, one of the moments that stood out to me was on the last recent trip was when we were playing. I was playing soccer with this one kid. He must have been maybe like 10, 11 years old, maybe around that age. And we were playing soccer. It was just me and him. Kicked the soccer ball to him. Brand. I believe it's like a newer soccer ball too. Like, it looked new at least. But point is that bringing out a soccer ball to these kids is like putting a basketball in front of me. Like, forget everything else going on. I'm playing ball. Drop all the work. Anyway. I'm playing ball, and same thing for these kids, right? But this kid, I mean, a lot. This was very similar in a lot of kids that I was in touch with in Guatemala, where me and him might have kicked the ball back and forth 3 times, 3 kicks back and forth, and by the third one, he's like, "Wait, let's go back to finishing our work." I'm like, "Wait, you sure? You sure you don't want to keep playing?" I'm like, "I'm ready to play," and that really just kicked me in the ass, because I was like, man, what am I slacking for in all of these areas, or complaining for in all of these areas? This kid right here ready to go to work. He sees opportunity in front of him. He sees this new future, this new school that's about to be built. Man, this soccer thing could wait. That blew my mind, and it made me want to come back to New York and say, yo, let's get to work. So that's like something that really stood out to me. You got J-Lo, any stories that, while you guys were on that trip?
I love how they taught me how to appreciate every little thing, especially me. This was on the first trip, because the second trip, the kids were a lot more younger. So the first trip they were a bit older, and they were just literally playing with sticks and just pushing around rocks, and they were playing games with it at the same time. And because I'm a creative, so anything I find as well that I can have fun with, I'll see how I can imagine to make a game out of. And any little thing, they were just finding a game how to play with, just to entertain themselves while they were working it. And I just love the imagination because I'm big on vision. And I love their imagination when it comes to things. They were getting the barrels, and and they were racing each other, or pretending that, they were at the spot and they were just relaxing like this while, one kid would push them or fan them, and just different things like that. And when I was carrying the camera and my gimbal, I feel like that was their first time ever seeing something like that. So it was grabbing their attention, and it was, like you were saying, Jeff, expanding their minds. Like, ooh, what is that? What are we doing? What are you doing? And that's a possibility. Like, again, us showing them something different and new, where they can push themselves to do something and become something more, right? And that just plants an idea to them. Hey, look, you want to become a videographer, a photographer, an actor, a singer, like you can do whatever it is that you want. And words like that we can push on them can help them grow into a better person, especially in what they're trying to fight over there. Because like I said, they're in a closed community, they don't know much about it. So us coming here as like from Africa, the hair, the different styles, and what we can, like the culture and what we can bring to them so they can learn more and grow more as an individual, is just a blessing to be able to do that. And I just love the fact that we're, Hug It Forward is that vehicle for that. You know what I'm saying? So that's definitely something that every trip that I go, I appreciate those moments, and I appreciate those moments when I see others doing it as well, without you guys even knowing it.
And I just want to add, like, your videos, man. I truly believe that there's some sort of movie that's gonna come out, and whether it's about your life, whether it's about Hug It Forward, whether it's about, just what we did on this earth, and I think your clips, hands down, are gonna be a part of all of them, just because of the way you piece things together and put it together all cinematically, man. It's a beautiful thing, and although it doesn't do justice like getting on a trip, I think the footage that you take really brings justice and is a real reason why a lot of people decide to go on these trips as well, besides us and word of mouth. But thank you. Now, P, man, what's up, man? Anything that popped out to you on I know you've been on one, but listen, you got a tattoo on your first one. They gotta do something.
Well, besides the zip line, yeah, I almost died on that one. I don't want to talk about that. But as far as the town, man, what touched me was the besides the kids was the adults, bro. Because before I even knew about the Civil War stories, you can just tell on their face they went through something, And then once I heard the story, that's when I just started mingling with them more, Because they just quiet in the corner, just working, helping you do stuff or teaching you, and no one's actually talking to these guys. And I don't even know how to speak Spanish, But I was trying, But it's definitely a humbling experience because you just can tell, like, it's not easy living there, I heard it's $7, right, to feed 4 people, right, something like that, and $7. We're complaining. We get $15 an hour, So that was tough. So it's just a different mindset, a different perspective to give you, in life. Because I did come back home, and everything was just different, So I just had I would definitely, planning to go back at least one time, just to build another one, with my buddies, all of us, God willing, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And definitely a humbling experience. Like I can't even. You just gotta be there.
That's that's the best way to explain it. Like
you just gotta be there. Like I can't. It's deep. It's deeper than just building a school. It's bigger than that. It's for everybody. The people touched me. Like they were giving me everything and they had nothing. Like it was. I couldn't even accept that. Like I didn't even know how to do that. So that was one thing. Like I came back giving back more. So it was good. They taught me a lot. The kids, the adults, everyone.
Funny enough, well, not funny enough, but you have kids of your own.
Yes, and there was one part. I remember we was going to the lake, and we stopped by for like a pit stop, and I saw a group of kids like getting on a bus. We couldn't buy street food. We wasn't allowed to buy the street food. But I can just imagine the kid was probably 8, 4, and a 2-year-old just asking people like, hey, can you buy it? I don't know what it was, like I wish we would have gave them some money or something like that. But I can just picture my kids doing that because over here we teach our kids all that stuff so they can go, get ahead in life. Over there they doing that at that age so they can survive. I don't know, man. It was just tough. Like you got to survive. I love it because they have a lot of common sense. I mean, I guess if you got to survive every day, you got to have common sense. So I mean that's we didn't speak much, but we understood each other. It was weird, right? It was just very smart, man. I love it, man. Very, very, very beautiful people. So that was dope.
It's
So, you want to say something? Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just gonna say that you don't even have to speak the language, to come on a trip like this. one thing that it's important to mention here is that it's all about human connection. You know, a smile, you know, a hug, playing soccer, you know, can go a long way in these communities. One thing I think I already mentioned is that these communities have been abandoned for years. Some of these kids have never had the opportunity to see people from someone outside their community, let alone someone from another country. So when people like you guys come down, um, they look up to you. You know, I know that whenever I come back to the community after spending or hang out with a group in that community, they see the van pull up and they're like, "Where are they?" You know, you are making a big change as well in the life of these kids. I've seen, I could go on and on, you know, about the stories and the things I've seen in these kids and how it's so beautiful to see how through these trips it's possible to change, to shift, you know, a little bit, just a little bit, you know, about their mindset. About they have been abandoned, but if they realize that there's people coming down on trips like this, they're gonna realize that they matter. They matter. And then what's going to happen next is that they're going to go out and they're going to do their thing. They're going to go out, they're going to be hungry for opportunities and they're going to go find them. But they have to get educated first.
Powerful, powerful stuff. They see Gerson get off the bus. They're like, "Where the gringos at?" we see Gerson again. What
I had to tell him, I'm not a gringo.
Where's Jeff? I was actually just in that community, Jeff and Pedro, 3 days ago. You know, and some of those kids,
that's nice.
Some of those kids still remember you guys. They're like they remember Pedro, they remember Jeff, they remember Jared, they remember Tamar. They remember all those names for sure. You know, they're always like, I bring another group of volunteers. They're still remembering your names. So
that's amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I would like to see that town again, though. Definitely.
See Catalino again?
Huh?
Maybe see Catalino again and say what's up.
Yeah, Catalino, right? I'm pretty sure he's taking care of those kicks. You know?
Oh yeah,
they work hard, man. I remember taking off my gloves one time because I saw everyone else not like wearing gloves. Bro, one pull of the rope, my skin came off. I said, "Oh, there goes the gloves." Right? So at the end, I'm like, "Well, I don't see anyone in wearing gloves," so I had to give him my gloves. You know what I mean? Like, here, you're gonna be needing this more than I do. Here's the sneakers. You're gonna need this more than I do. And it felt great just doing that. You know, he was looking at me like, "What the?" But the whole time I was there working, you know, he was just teaching me how to do the whole thing. You know, whatever I was doing, at least, you know, he was helping me, and I'm like, wow. You know, I was just because understand that most of these guys are like, I remember asking some guy, "How old are you?" Right, and he was like, "I'm 42 years old," and I go, "I'm 42 years old." I go, "And we look different." Like I thought he was 50. Right? I'm not that I'm making fun of him, but I just know, like, damn, you must have went through a lot in life. So I just felt like, you know, like, all right, give me the damn shovel, man. Just sit there and watch. You know what I mean? Like, don't move. You know, like, I just really, you know, I wish I could have done more because that wasn't enough time. You know what I mean?
This is why we going. This is why we going back. This is why we coming back.
Like, it felt short. Like, damn. You know, like it was crazy.
We will be back there. Listen, this is definitely not the last time. So, but real quick, I just want to take this quick segment to say, for those that are watching this live right now, I would love, or if you're watching this replay, I would love if you guys could, you know, we would love if you could like, share, you know, however you're watching. If you're on Facebook, you're on YouTube, drop a like, you know, share this. You know, not for our sake, but ultimately because again, you know, I've been on this trip 3 times. You could tell that this has a deeper connection, and we would really love to see, you know, more of this happen and get more, you know, more of our friends and family on these trips as well. So if you can take the time, just drop a like and share this content. That would be much appreciated. But I want to you know, touch on something. You know, maybe this might have flew over your head. Their civil war ended around in 1996, right? Hassan, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I'm born in 92.
Bro, that's what I'm saying. I'm in high school. That dude was 42. I was chilling in 96. What the hell were you doing? Between at least 88 and 96. Hiding, bro? Or watching whatever was going on? That must have been crazy.
Yeah.
you can see it in the face, bro. Like I wasn't even playing. Like they can touch you just by looking at it. It was just, you know what I mean. So that just made you. You just gotta see it. I can't make this up.
I could only
You know?
imagine. I could only imagine being like 4 years old and still being in
That's what I'm saying.
war. Like that would have been nuts to me.
Bro,
But
understand Civil War, bro. Like you and I are brothers, but you live on the other side, bro. I gotta get you. You know what I mean? That's crazy.
it's
Like I'm
not.
not gonna do that.
So
But that's exactly what was happening. That's what you know.
I want to talk about real quick about how COVID has affected the process of Hug It Forward and building schools, because I know there's a lot of people that might be on here that's like, well, how could I get on this trip with all the COVID regulations and stuff like that? But I would love to say for myself, first and foremost, that I haven't felt more safe. Even before I was getting on there, Zoe was everywhere I turned around. There was some hand sanitizer coming my way. So it was like, she was squeezing hand sanitizer everywhere I looked. And I didn't feel at all worried about any of that stuff while I was on there. And I need you guys I want everyone to realize like how culture shocking it could be for somebody that's never been into a third world country like this, and then they come to a they come to to Guatemala as a third world country, but you see Antigua, a tourist side, and then you go to the community where forget about like Wi-Fi and watching TV and all that stuff, but like you're coming into these rural communities, and it could be a little, you might be a little bit nervous, but again, with how Hug It Forward moved, they didn't make me feel a bit nervous about a single thing, and even with COVID, so but yeah, I just want to know, like, how's it affected COVID? How are you guys kind of like making your precautions and just keeping this show on the road?
Great question. Well, I mean, we come from 11 months of zero trips. Even the schools have to stop for 11 months. I'm not gonna lie, our organization was in life support, for so many months, and so having people come down again is a real blessing, and that's something that we don't take for granted. One of the things that we want to make sure is that everyone is safe on these trips. So when people come down, we take our precautions. We have to wear masks whenever we're in the community. We have to wear masks whenever we're hanging out at the hotel, like in public spaces. But then when we're in the van, whenever we're eating, obviously we have to wear a mask. Kids are also wearing masks. We have 4 trips as of today, and 0 positive cases of COVID as of today. And that is mainly because in these communities, it would be irresponsible to say that there's no COVID, but what I'm trying to say is that they're not exposed, to a lot of the things that we are, in other countries. But when people come down, they have to, first of all, show that they have a negative COVID test, because obviously we don't want to bring someone to these communities that could potentially, bring COVID. So we're trying to be responsible as well, and the hotel takes their precautions. Our driver Enrique is also taking precautions. As you mentioned, we have a great team. We have Bibi, we have Zoe, who are always attacking you guys with hand sanitizer. This is something that we did before, way before COVID. So this is not like weird or difficult for us. This is something that we used to do on a regular basis. So it's very normal for us, and we've been working hard on making these trips safe for everyone. As I mentioned, 0 positive cases. Everyone was healthy and happy and fulfilled after a week in Guatemala, changing lives. So why not come down on a trip like that?
Yeah, and not to mention the COVID test that we get, that they stick this like 12-inch ruler up your nose. I don't know if they don't have any newer.
That was kind of a surprise for everyone going on the trip, but there it goes.
Listen, I'm glad.
That was very intense, man.
Yeah, no, that was super intense. Well, I do, as much as I would love, to stay on here, I want to get some, any last words you guys want to, kind of just take part, Jeff, J-Lo, Pete, anything you guys want to share about your trip, your experience, about anything overall, and, you just want to get off your chest about this experience overall.
If I just know every time that I'll do be attending these trips, I do be learning something new from every trip. I'm always coming out of there as a different person, always coming out of there valuing different things. So it's you come out there thinking that you're helping them, but in reality, they're really adding value to you. And that's a blessing as well in disguise, knowing that you're doing something, thinking that, obviously we're all here trying to put value and help out as those unfortunate, but in reality, they're happy where they are. They don't really need help other than, building the schools and building educations for them. But we come out, being taught by, the hospitality, the humbleness, appreciation, the love, the simple basic things that we all forget about, and that's something that I love about these trips, and that I look forward in the future attending as well, bringing others along. And even at one point as well, when I do have kids, or when, for those that do have kids, bring them along, and that's a special addition to this. And I'm just looking forward what Hug It Forward has for us in the future, what you'll add on to it, or, different things like that. So I'm excited to see.
Number zip line.
Yo, I thought the zip line was dope.
Your girlfriend was like, nah, the zip line was dope eventually, after I got the hang of it. But I remember the first, hey, we're going to go hiking. First 25 minutes, we're going to go hiking. You mean you wanted to warm us up with the bridges?
You guys, we could be Pedro all the way down there. He's like,
man,
a zip line. We could hear Pedro go, ah!
Yeah, I mean, that was tough. And I got stuck. No way, man. That was it. One and done, bro. That's it. But that was amazing. It was a great experience. You know what I mean? I take it. Yeah, 28 times. Right?
That's how many zip lines you guys went down to? 28?
Bro, I thought it was only one. When you hear zip lines from here to here, right?
Boom.
That's it, man. Zip line. I didn't know it was 9 times or 8, something like that. It was a lot.
Wow.
It was crazy. And it was very high. It was too high. Yeah.
Jeff.
And
there be kids going down to school like that too, right? Taking that.
Bro, what got me better with the bridges when I saw a kid? I'm like, all right. If he's not scared, I can't get scared either. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. But it was too late. It was the end of the day already.
You got through it. You got. That's right, though. You did it. Now you got.
Yeah, I did it. Yeah. I'm allowed to tell the story. You know what I mean? So I didn't die, so we're good. We'll do it again. Yeah.
For sure. I mean, I can't wait to get on the trip with all you guys. I want to thank you, Herson. Like, you basically dedicated your whole life to Hug It Forward, and not only Hug It Forward, but Guatemala in general. So without you and without the rest of the team, the trips wouldn't be as fun, and probably wouldn't even be possible. We come out there, but to get everything together, you guys did do a lot. So I do appreciate that, and look forward to doing our own trip. Hopefully next year, or if not next year, soon to come.
Next year. Yeah, I want to take a picture with you with that jacket on. Listen, man. Here we go, right? I remember that night. We were the hike. We want to do that hike too, right? But I remember that night we was around the bonfire. It was freaking cold, man. Right? And then I remember you looked at me and you go, "Is that jacket warm?" I'm like, "Damn, it's yours." That was it. I was like, "It's too cold over here." I was like, "You gotta have this." I get it. If you didn't ask, bro, I wouldn't have done it. But I was like, "Oh, you got it, man. You got it, man. It is what it is." Right? I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Yeah. I just hiked a volcano, and that thing pretty much saved my life. So thank you.
Nice.
See that?
You did see that, yeah. I haven't seen more live volcanoes, but every time I'm in Guatemala, like it never fails me. There's always live volcanoes going on.
Always that, yeah, it's a fact.
Everybody's just cool, it's a regular day.
I would have ran home.
Right.
I would have ran home.
A beautiful sight, though. I've seen some of the most amazing sights, in Guatemala. It's a beautiful country. Antigua is beautiful overall as far as tourist lands go. Definitely going to the communities. I think it was for me, it was such a great disconnect. just from all that's been going on in the world, COVID, the negativity and all that stuff. It was such a great disconnect, and I truly just had a lot of fun. I mean, for a lot of people, they haven't traveled, for the past year, and then for their first trip to come to get on to Guatemala, and giving back, it's for me, it was just. I have a lot of fun. I look forward to these trips every single year. Shout out to obviously John Clash for putting all this stuff together, because I personally would have not gotten invited if it weren't for Clash. But I'm definitely here to say that when he planted that seed, we're definitely here to water it, because again, we would love to lead our own trips as well, and clearly, I'm sure we won't have a problem packing them out, but.
Shout out to Joe, bro. Joe is the champ.
Oh man, Joe! If Joe can get on,
the champ.
Host Joe, yeah. If
what? Joe is the champ. Joe, we ate pizza last night. He made it happen. I'm like, we Uber Eat a pizza. Like, Uber Eat? There's Uber Eats here? Oh, bro, that was fire. What? That was clutch.
So shout out to Joe, man. That trip was definitely, he definitely held it down because he could speak both languages, and but Harrison, man, is there any last parting words you want to tell to the people that are watching this? I'm sure this content will reach hundreds of people soon to come, and anything you want to leave them with, and last but not least, again, I do want to thank the Hug It Forward program for putting all this together and making this probably one of the most seamless trips that I could ever get on, as far as traveling, as far as safety, as far as food. Thank you, Christy.
Yes, that was amazing. Oh, Miss Christy was amazing.
Miss Christy,
right?
What?
She made me eat food that my mom would probably be shocked that I ate.
Right. I gotta cut my own fruits now.
Joe, you got some fans here as well. But yeah, Harrison, anything you want to leave the people with?
Well, yeah, I mean, just invite you guys to come on a Barrel School trip. We're gonna figure out a way to post the date somewhere so people can see it. If not, then just go to hoyfor.org, and then you'll see the dates on there. And then just remind you guys that we would love to have you on a Barrel School trip for sure, but you can always make a difference, where you are. Change starts within yourself, and if you cannot come to Guatemala to build a school, you can still make a change where you are. And I want to thank you guys for inviting me and for having the opportunity to spread the word about what Hoy Forward is doing. Our government here makes it very difficult for us to share, what we're doing. So this being a vessel for that really means a lot to us. So we appreciate you guys, and thank you to John and Gio for putting that trip together a few weeks ago, and for everyone that came down. It really means a lot to us that people want to come and see us and see the kids. And every time we see people coming back, it makes us feel like we're doing something right, and it's like seeing family again. So we love you guys, and let's all be the change.
I love it. With that being said, another episode in the cut. Thank you guys for our special guest.
Thank you.
And
thank you, Bill Son, for showing up. Thank you, man. I appreciate you.
Yes.
And for everyone else that watched, thank you. I appreciate you.
Be waiting for that matching tattoo when we go over there.
Yeah. Be prepared.
You can only get it over there, bro. You can only get it over there.
Be prepared to get a tattoo when you come to Guatemala, or else you didn't go.
Yeah. The